Going on, everybody? It's Jet Central coming back with another video. So this is actually a viewer request video, and it's basically my thoughts on quarterback prospect Lamar Jackson. And I've actually been getting a lot of these questions. What are my thoughts on current quarterback prospects that are, rumored to be coming after the 2018 draft? So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to be making a video on like the handful of guys that are being talked about, as far as quarterbacks that are rumored to be coming out, because I love talking about the position. I was probably going to make these videos anyway, and it's just, it makes it even more awesome that people actually want to know my thoughts on them. So, and they're asking for videos on them. So I'm basically just going to go through all of them. I'm going to give every prospect a specific video, and I've already done one with Mason Rudolph for Oklahoma State, and I did one with Baker Mayfield. Basically, what I talk about inside the videos are the pros, the cons, like what are they good at, what are they bad at, how they would translate to the NFL, and if they would fit with the New York Jets, because everyone knows the New York Jets might be drafting the future in this 2018 NFL draft. So, this video is about Lamar Jackson. Really, really, really interesting case study, to say the least, right? You look at Lamar Jackson, extreme athlete. Athletic as hell. He looks like he's playing on another gear than everyone else. Like he's in 5th gear when everyone else is in 3rd or 4th. He just looks he's extremely fast, extremely athletic. He's just an overall an athletic guy. I mean, you see it sometimes in sports. A player will pop up like this, like RG3 almost, his rookie season, where it just looked like he was faster than every single player on the field. It looked like the game was so slow for him that he was playing like everyone else was in like slow motion. He was like the only one at real time. Another player like that, switching over to basketball, was Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, when he had that MVP season, he was unstoppable. Right, he was flying around the court. Nobody could guard him. He just was so much faster and so much stronger than every point guard in the league at that time. Just unstoppable. Ironically enough, both athletes get hurt, and their careers were never really the same. But I mean, you look at Lamar Jackson, and he, I think, has that trait in him where he just looks like this is the most explosive player on the field. This is the most athletic player on the field, and he can take it to the house on any given play, whether it's a screen pass, a deep pass, a read option, a quarterback heave, a quarterback draw. Anytime Lamar Jackson has the ball, there's a chance that it could be, a touchdown. Like, it's just that simple. Like, Lamar Jackson is so electrifying. So let's talk about a little bit of his pros. I think the big 3 things that kind of come out, like, right off the bat, like, Lamar Jackson's, like, shining pros that he has: quick release, extremely fast, and extremely quick. By those three things, I mean his release. The way he throws the football is lightning quick. He has such a high and tight release up by his ear. He throws from his ear. His pullback, he has no downward movement. He pulls it straight back like you're taught to. When you look at Lamar Jackson, quarterback coaches typically like quarterbacks to have their elbow pointed out like that. And a good way for you to kind of think about it is if your elbow is like attached to like a fishing line, or like somebody has like a string attached to your elbow and is pulling it straight back. So like you're pulling it straight back and it's up high and tight by your ear, then keeping your elbow locked in and ripping it down the field, as opposed to bringing it down, like bringing the ball down or bringing your shoulder down. Coaches typically want you to pull it back in a straight horizontal line. Lamar Jackson does a fantastic job of that. Other quarterbacks that do that have a lightning quick release, like him, like Michael Vick, pulls back just like that. When you can do that, and you can do that effectively and throw accurately and throw it with velocity, you can manipulate defenses. It just gives you such a better, or it gives the quarterback prospect such an advantage because of how fast you could get the ball out. You look at quarterbacks like Blake Bortles that pull the ball down, and the safeties. I mean, I know you're only thinking like, oh, it's only like maybe a second or two, but that safety can cover. Like, safeties in the NFL are paid millions of dollars to pick you off and to read your eyes as a quarterback. So when you're pulling the ball down, that safety's moving. That safety is going to your target. He's reading your eyes, and once he starts seeing you kind of go in your throwing motion, he's moving. And if you're taking a long time to deliver that ball, to get it up by your ear and, release the pass, that safety is taking advantage of those split seconds and covering ground to get to the target. The faster your release is, the less time the safeties and the defensive help has to get to that specific target where you're throwing the ball to. So Lamar Jackson, his lightning quick release, I believe will help him in the NFL game. He's not going to go into the NFL and have like this elongated release to where defenders can just pick him apart just reading his eyes. He's a quick release that will help him down the stretch. Other pro, I would probably say his most, when you think of Lamar Jackson, this is like what you think of, his speed. Lamar Jackson, I've never really seen a quarterback in my life, other than really Michael Vick and like Tyrod Taylor, where the quarterback, at some given games, they're faster than opposing corners. Like, that is unbelievable to think a quarterback can outrun linebackers and cornerbacks like nothing. Lamar Jackson, when he keeps it on the read option and that end bites and he dives in for the running back and he pulls it back, it's almost like, it's so hard to stop. As far as college defenses goes, it's just remarkable how fast Lamar Jackson really is when he gets in open space. I think the third pro about him, the speed and the quickness go hand in hand, because you never really see Lamar Jackson take a huge shot or get like hit stick down the sideline, or like him have to come out of the game with a concussion protocol. He knows how to get down. He knows how to not get hit, when to step out of bounds. He's quick in the pocket. Really, he has quick feet to when he knows how to escape the pocket, and he just knows how to evade people and not take the brutal hits that, we saw it in yesterday's game with Kirk Cousins. Do you know how many times Kirk Cousins got punished back there by not sliding the correct way, by diving head first? I know maybe you could argue that a couple of the hits by the Saints were a little bit of cheap shots, but you don't want your quarterback taking these hits. So if you have a quarterback that is not only fast, but he's quick, like he can elude people, make a miss in open field, and is smart enough to get out of bounds, to not take these big hits, to throw the ball away, to have quick feet in the pocket, not just standing there like a statue and just wait to get hit. He knows how to escape the pocket and evade defenders. That can be very, very enticing for NFL coaching staff, especially if that specific offense doesn't have that much talent around him. Because if that offensive line is bad, or talking about if Lamar Jackson gets drafted to an NFL pro team, if that pro team doesn't have an offensive line, or they don't have a solid running game, or the wide receivers aren't too talented, him just being in the game and extending plays with his feet makes everybody better on that team. Because now the defenses not only have to prepare for his feet, him running downfield on you, but they also have to keep him inside the try to figure out how to keep him inside the pocket. Because if he gets outside of the pocket, the wide receivers can really just have as much time as they want to try to run their route. Corners cannot be expected to cover wide receivers in the NFL for 4 to 5 seconds. That can't happen. It's not the corner's fault when it comes to that. So those are really the three basic things that are the pros of Lamar Jackson. Before I get into the cons, I really want to bring this point up as well, is his Heisman winning year. He was just flat out more athletic, more dominant, he was just so, optics-wise, he was just playing at another level. He was better than everyone on the field in every game. That's really what it came down to in his Heisman season. But he had a lot of flaws as a passer, He still has some of the flaws, but the one big thing that I noticed that he's worked on tremendously in the offseason is throwing with anticipation. By that, I know I talk about this a lot, and I know it could get a little confusing from time to time, because sometimes I know I probably don't make sense with it, because it's a hard topic to kind of put into words. But when you throw with anticipation, it's such a quality that you need as a quarterback if you want to succeed in the pros. For example, Bryce Petty, quarterback, he's from Baylor. He's a New York Jet right now. He cannot throw with anticipation, and thus he has a strong arm. He's confident. He's big. He can take a hit. He can move, make plays with his feet. Overall, he has tons of traits as a quarterback that you want in the pros. But he can't throw with anticipation, which means he can't get into the games. By throwing with anticipation, this is what I mean. waiting for your, or not, you don't have to see your wide receiver break to know where he's going to be. You can build that up with chemistry. You can build that up with just understanding the film, watching film, and overall just having that trust in your wide receiving and like as in your offense as a whole, and really just knowing where your players are going to be. When, for example, if you're throwing a post route, right, a simple post route, it doesn't even have to be against a corner. Like, this is just hypothetical. When you are waiting for your wide receiver or your number one read or whatever to make that break and to turn and look at you like after he's almost done with the route, then you throw it, that's bad. You could get away with that in college just because like the athletes vary from team to team. But as far as the pro game goes, you know, that can't happen. You have got to be able to throw with anticipation, knowing, okay, this wide receiver X, whatever, he's going to be running that post route. I'm going to know where he's going to be. So now I can look off the safety with my eyes to the left side of the field. As soon as the safety starts leaking over a little bit, come back and throw it, throwing to a spot, knowing where that wide receiver is going to be. Not staring at him, waiting, please get open, please get open. As soon as he makes that break, just trying to force the ball in there because the safety's looking at you. You know, he's getting paid to pick you off, to defend against the pass. So you have to throw with anticipation, and that's what Lamar Jackson, to me, has worked on. You could tell he's worked on in the offseason because he's throwing with great anticipation this year as opposed to last year. Last year, he'd wait for his wide receivers to get open. He didn't really make any tight window throws. He does a really good job of leading the wide receiver, but it's just a matter of, is that wide receiver pretty much done with his route, or is he still inside the route and Lamar is throwing him open? I see more of that this season with Lamar Jackson. So that's a huge, huge plus as far as Lamar Jackson to the NFL goes. Some of his cons. His size. You know, I know a lot of people have been complaining about his size, that he's too skinny, he's too frail to play in the NFL. You know, another quarterback prospect named Teddy Bridgewater a few years back had the same issues, ironically out of Louisville, that he was too skinny to play, and every time he was going to get sacked, he was going to have to come out of the game with an injury. I know Bridgewater's hurt right now, but it was actually a non-contact injury, just a simple little drop back. Really unfortunate for him. But as far as Lamar Jackson goes, you know, I do think he needs to beef up a little bit, but I just don't really think that Lamar Jackson, like, you know, I guess size is a red flag, but it's not, I don't really think that is such a deterrent where you're saying, oh, we can't draft this guy because he's too skinny. I mean, he's only 22 or 21. Like, you know, give the kid cut the kid some slack. He's gonna have full off season of training, a training camp, a mini camp, and stuff to put on muscle. I mean, let's pump the brakes on just saying, okay, we're not taking him because he's too skinny. Another con that I kind of have to bring up about him is that, you know, the read option and the offensive system that he currently runs at Louisville, whatever team takes him, whatever team takes Lamar Jackson is going to have to incorporate the read option into their offense. You cannot take Lamar Jackson and say, look, throw the playbook at him and just say, Lamar, here's a playbook, you learn it. If you don't learn it, you will fail. Screw that. That's such a recipe for disaster. If I'm an NFL coach and I like Lamar Jackson and I think we could work with him, this is what I'm saying to him. What did you do? What did you feel comfortable with at Louisville? Explain to me the whole Louisville playbook. We're going to incorporate some of the Louisville plays into the NFL system. We're going to bring the read option over to our NFL system, and we're going to run it because you feel comfortable with that. You have experience doing that, and you excel at it. We're not doing this BS. You're standing in the pocket, and you have to play like a traditional pocket passer. That bad idea. Bad idea. Let Lamar do his thing. Triple down on what he's good at. Screw what he's bad at. Don't even make it, like, if he doesn't feel comfortable doing something, don't force him to go in there. Now, I'm not saying be the exact same version that you are at Louisville. I'm just saying, if you're an NFL team out there and you like Lamar Jackson and you're not, like, you better incorporate the read option into your offense because he could run it to perfection. Extremely difficult to guard against, especially if you have an explosive running back that excels in the zone blocking system. So, because you could run the read option all day with Lamar Jackson, really, really, really difficult to stop with him just because he's just so electrifying. So those are kind of my thoughts on Lamar Jackson. Would he fit with the New York Jets? Would he fit with the New York Jets? I think he would if we made a change at offensive coordinator. I think he would be like a spark plug, or like shock some life back into this New York Jets offense as far as on the field, how electrifying he is, as well as, in the locker room. I think a lot of players like relate to him because he's just like he's like a kid from Florida, and a lot of the New York Jets players are younger. They're all kind of really good in college and stuff like that. And I feel like all these guys are almost like a small fraternity within football. They all kind of know each other, and I feel like Lamar Jackson, it's almost like you're when you walk in that classroom and you see your best friend in there, or like you get a job and you get your best friend a job too. It's like that instant chemistry, that instant connection off the field, which would then translate to on the field. So I don't necessarily feel like he'd fit in the West Coast John Morton system. I think that's more of a Rosen, Josh Allen kind of system as far as the college prospects, comparing him to John Morton's offensive system. But Lamar Jackson, you need to incorporate the read option. You've got to play to his strengths. Let him run. Let him do his thing. Let him throw the deep ball. Don't force him to be something he's not, because he won't have success. It's just black and white. It's just simple as that. So that's kind of my thoughts on Lamar Jackson. I think he'll go in the first round. I know a lot of people have him going in like the fourth, but I just feel like by the time draft day comes, there will be a team that will fall in love with his pros, with his strengths, and there's going to be a team, and they're going to buy in, and they're going to take him. And it's going to be interesting. I like Lamar Jackson. It's going to be really fun watching him at the NFL level, if he does declare, because I think right now he's only a junior. Or he could be a senior. I'm not sure. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Lamar Jackson. Let me know down in the comment section, your guys' thoughts and kind of predictions on Lamar. Like, what do you guys think of him? So, with that being said, go Jets.